Yeah.
Alright, so this is my summer flying trips. Back-to-back weekends of fun, starting with Big Sur. This is my first launch over there. You could see me check to make sure I'm hooked in, make sure my vario is set. There's basically no wind, so it's not a terribly complicated launch, you just need to run. The goal for this flight was pretty simple. Straight down the ridge, straight out to the landing zone. This is my first ever flight here, and as a Hang 2, I'm not really qualified or experienced enough to just go off and try things without prior experience. You can hear a little lift there. Now I'm finally getting a view of the entire coastline, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I decided, since I had plenty of altitude coming off the ridge, I would get my shot at flying over the water. Typically this is something that you don't want to do unless you know you can get back over the land, because if you land in the water, you're as good as dead. So I'm happy. Got out of the water, time to go figure out how I'm gonna land. So only my instructor has landed, I'm the second person. I'm looking at the windsock and I'm seeing it just sort of almost dead or switching back and forth, and I decide, well, I'm gonna take an approach similar to his, because why not? Do some 360s to lose altitude. You can see me looking down at where my landing zone is. Trying to keep an idea of how much I'm drifting in these circles so I can get a sense of the airspeed, the wind. Here we come. Downwind, base leg. Now as I turn to final, I am hauling ass. My GPS says I was hitting around 50 miles an hour right at that turn. So I start coming in, not the best control, try to push out. Oh, yep. Good thing we've got wheels. Not always the solution, but it worked out for me here. So roughly what happened was I came in way faster than I was expecting to, didn't have my feet under me, didn't level off well, lost my footing. Second flight, day 2, there goes Erika. Conditions are again very, very, very light, almost no wind. I need to make sure to do one last hook-in check, ensure that indeed I am connected to my hang glider. Once Josh, one of the instructors at Windsports, clears the nose wires, I've got a chance to... Here we go, I'm feeling the air, everything feels good. Slight crosswind launch, but that's fine, and we're off. You can see Erika just up to the left of my head. And she started running away, so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna chase her down and have one of those really cool hang gliding moments where you get two gliders flying side by side through the air. Can't be better than that, right? Typically, whenever you see me throw my legs and my body over, it means that we just had a little turbulence. That's where I shout out to Erika that I love her, and she couldn't hear me. So as we head down the ridge towards the landing zone again, I hear over the radio that Erika's gonna go land at a new landing zone, so alright, fine, I'll go do my own thing. I'm gonna practice just sort of some aggressive diving turns. I'd like to get to wingovers eventually, but I want to slowly gain control over my glider, so big old dive to gain some speed. Nice angle turn, followed up by another. I feel that I was in pretty good control over my glider throughout these maneuvers, so I'm happy with this progress. This lost me a lot of altitude versus the first flight where I came out trying to stay high so I can get over the water. So you'll see that I don't have to do nearly as many 360s to land here. So everybody else had been landing from the other direction. The wind was very similar to the first day, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try and get this right. I don't like that I went to my wheels. That's the first time I've done it in over a year, and I want to stay on my feet. So I came in, trying to replicate my course line best as possible from the first flight. Coming in fast again. That's great. Here's Andy. Got my feet under me, a lot more control. Now my flare is pretty weak, and I'm stop, wait, no, ow. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine. Fortunately, I just kind of got a little scratch there, but I kind of landed on my feet. I didn't know how I felt about this. Third and final launch at Big Sur. This is later the same day. Again, conditions. Essentially no wind on launch. My goal this time was to try to stay up a little longer. If I found some lift, I was planning to try to do a circle in it. People that have flown Big Sur know sometimes you get great thermals, but most of the time you're just riding down the ridge and going to the water with not a lot of airtime. So here you can see me actually do a circle on the ridge. It didn't really help. I didn't particularly go up. That's because I'm not very good yet, but still, I was proud that I did it. Here, shooting over the little saddle a little bit closer than before. When you can start to see each individual blade of grass, you know you're getting a little bit closer to the ground, you know? Another attempt to gain some lift and a bit of a thermal. You can see that big cloud bank out there. That was worrying us quite a bit, but made for a cool view. Again, I didn't really gain anything in this, but it was fun. Nice, smooth air again. Decided I'll practice my wing over maneuvers. Not wing over maneuvers, but, you know, aggressive turns. Really enjoyable. Once again, the wind, I could have landed in either direction. There's one variable here that I didn't notice until maybe the second landing, which is that the entire landing field is sloped downhill in the direction that I'm going in. So, and it dips off even steeper towards the end where that bush is that I ran into. So this is a little bit more challenging regardless of wind direction, but I felt I was getting a handle on how to do this. Wanted to again replicate my course line and try to get this nailed. Nice and tight maneuvers with my body, keep things level. Waiting for the moment to flare. There's my flare. No bush. Redemption. I've done it. So that landing was critical for this flight here, which was the very next weekend in Monroe, Utah. Here I'm running an oxygen system because we're at roughly 11,000 feet. And I'm getting ready to launch. Now you'll notice that this is much stronger than the conditions were at Big Sur. You're going to see my glider get knocked around here in a moment. That right there, if that happened while I was in the middle of running my launch, could be very dangerous. So I waited, tried to wait for the air to smooth out a bit. Here's again another bit of turbulence. It's a bit frightening. But I felt the air smoothing out, calming down. Whether or not this was a fully safe decision to launch, many pilots would say it's fine. I'm concerned with those bumps, but I went for it. And we're up. And immediately, I was blown away. Look at these colors. But there's no time to look at the landscape. I knew the first thing I needed to do is try to get some lift. Watching the paragliders fly just a few minutes before us, I noticed they all turned to the right, the locals did, so I tried to look in that area. Did not find a whole lot. Coming back now, just sort of below launch level and sinking lower and getting concerned. I'm thinking, well, maybe this flight's going to be a little shorter than I thought it was. But I continue to find moments of lift, and I have hope. Now you can see I'm really starting to sink down on the side of the ridge. But there's lift, and I know I can find it. I know I can get in it. And there we are, going up and up and up off that thermal. And I turn back and look at that. Way above launch. Fantastic. Now I can see over the backside of the mountain and realize there are just colors everywhere. And there's Nate flying on my right. This is where I radio Nate and tell him, "Hey Nate, come out front. The lift's a little better out here." So there we are. We're making our way up, up, up. There's claims you can get up above 16,000 feet here pretty easily on certain days, so that's really what that oxygen system was for. I really only capped out around 13,000. Now if you see that little white speck near my left side of my hip or my hand, that's Erika's glider about to launch, and there you can see, you can just see her out over the trees. Her launch was a little complicated, so she had to kind of head straight out. And my GoPro ran out of battery, so I can't show you my landing, but I can talk about it. It was just like Big Sur. Fast, I had to work hard. Again, you can see in the bottom right corner, Erika trying to find some lift there. But I came in, and all of those skills I'd been practicing in Big Sur, they paid off. I got everything to work, and I just landed, with a margin of safety. Erika had a very similar landing to my first one in Big Sur. Came in very, very fast, couldn't quite get her feet under her, went to her wheels, and unfortunately for her, the moment she went to her wheels, there was a bush in the way. The bush caught her base tube, so you can see where I'm grabbing with my hands, pitching her through the bar and breaking her arm. I can't really blame that on her. If I was in the same situation, I would have done the same exact thing. We've learned from it. We're going to do everything we can to keep our flights safe in the future. But it was still worth it. This place is beautiful.